Hi guys, rachybop here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to save battery life on your iPhone. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe. So this is really going to maximize your battery life to make sure your phone stays awake for the longest time possible, and a lot of these are background things that you might not know to switch off or to change, so that you can do that in either daily life or desperate situations. The first one is to restrict location services. I usually have location services on just because I find it really easy, like if you're using Google Maps or you want to use a Snapchat filter, that kind of thing, but it can really drain your battery life. So if you don't need it on, definitely go and turn it off. And to do that, you go into settings, privacy, and then location services, and you just tap the green slider and it will go off, and it will give you a warning that if you turn it off, it's going to be disabled for all apps that will use it, etc. If you don't want to turn it off entirely, you can go through everything separately and put never instead of while using or whatever, you know, like you can customize it to make sure that it's on or off for whatever you want it to be on or off for. The next thing that will help you is the brightness of your iPhone. This is something that I find really good on the iPhone 8 Plus. It's super intuitive, and I've never needed to play with it. I actually find the battery life really good on this phone, but on previous phones it hasn't been, and I think it kind of goes with like your usage. I mean, obviously it goes with the usage, but also like you might have got a dodgy one, like some people's phones. Some people just have really bad luck with phones. So this now is found in a different place in iOS 11 than where it was previously. So you go into settings, you go into general, then accessibility, and then display accommodations. And this is your auto brightness. So this is something to think about. Definitely you might want to turn it off and have it really low, or that might not work for you. It's completely up to you, but it's another thing to consider when trying to make the most of your battery life. Another thing is the auto lock. It's something to be mindful of. If you have your auto lock set to like never auto lock or 5 minutes or whatever, then it's obviously going to use more battery than if you had it set to 30 seconds. So if you're someone who forgets to lock your phone, that will definitely drain down the battery. And to change that, you're going to open settings, display and brightness, and then auto lock. You see, I've got mine set to never. What am I doing with my life? So you can then change it to 30 seconds if you want to, or to a minute. I think minute is reasonable. Maybe I'll leave mine at that. Why was I not doing that? I don't know. Actually, no, I'll leave it at never. Another thing that may help you is the raise to wake feature. At the moment you can just kind of tip your phone and it lights up, and you know, it's like super useful, but it's another thing that, you know, if your iPhone is somewhere that it's getting tipped a lot, or you just tend to do that as a natural thing, it's gonna use your battery. And also because the sensors are always watching out for it being tipped, that's going to drain your battery naturally. So whether you're using it or not, if it's on, it is going to drain your battery. You go into the same place as before to turn that off. It's go settings, display and brightness, and then raise to wake here, and you can just turn it off or leave it on. It's up to you. Okay, another thing that may help is the background app refresh. Now this is something that lets apps refresh their data in the background so they can load faster when you come to launch them. It's super great, super useful, but it will drain your battery. So in order to turn that off, go into settings, general, and then background app refresh here. You can turn it off for all of it. You can make sure it only does it on Wi-Fi. I mean, this is going to be really useful for those of you who are data conscious. Just bear in mind, it's automatically set to do it on mobile data as well. You can do it per app by the toggle button too. Super useful. Things like that you just let slip by. Another way to save your battery, and this one's quite obvious, I think it's one that I usually gravitate to, is to just be aware of which apps are using the most battery, and maybe think about if they're worth having, and what about them is making them use so much battery. So go into your settings and then into battery, and then down here you can see for the last 24 hours or the last 7 days the amount of battery that was used as per each app. Pokemon Go being the highest one here. If you tap it, it opens up this bit that shows you exactly how it is using that battery. So Pokemon Go, well, that's okay because I had it open for an hour, it used that much battery, that's understandable. Just things like that you just need to be aware of. And then in the last 7 days as well, you can see exactly how much they are using and on what. Why have I used Siri for 18 minutes? What's wrong with me? And then using this data that you learn on here, you can then go back through the things that we just talked about and maybe turn off the background location scanning or things like that and just work out what is important to you and what is not. Another thing to do might be to not use a live wallpaper, just use a basic still one, because as fun as live photos are for wallpaper, they're quite draining on your battery. So to change your wallpaper, I don't actually have a live photo as mine, so I'm good. Go into settings and then wallpaper, and this is where you change that. I've currently just got mine as still images, and I just find the live photo thing quite gimmicky. The next suggestion is to limit incoming notifications. This is something I've definitely done just because I'm recording, I'm streaming, and I don't want lots of things popping up. I used to have them all popping up, but now it really depends. It's something you can get used to either way. So if you open up your settings, go into notifications. You can turn on here whether you want badges, sounds and banners, or if you just want none of those or one of those, and these options are really going to change how your battery performs. The default tends to be badges, sounds and banners, so definitely go through this and change it as you see fit, and you can also change whether you see previews or not. Another tip is to turn on Wi-Fi calling. This isn't something I'm super familiar with, but it might be of use to a lot of you. If you open settings, go into phone, and then tap Wi-Fi calling, you can then toggle this on. You'll get a notification that says that when you join a network, the country where the network connection is made may be sent to your carrier and your mobile subscriber identity to the Wi-Fi operator, etc. So you can change all that and everything else, and it's basically a privacy issue. But what this is going to do is give you clearer calls, it's going to give you more chance of getting connected, and it's going to make it easier for the phone to make the call, therefore using less battery life. Another tip, there's so many tips, is to disable automatic downloads. This is for apps. So go into settings again, then iTunes and App Store, and you can customize all of this. So you can make it not play videos automatically. You can tell it if you want to use mobile data. You've got your automatic downloads here at the top, so you can make sure they're turned off if you don't want it to do that, and that will greatly reduce battery usage. Also, if you go into your settings and then into general and then accessibility, you can, under reduce motion, you can make sure that's turned off, and this is going to reduce like all the icons moving when you tip and that kind of stuff. It's really cool initially when you get the phone, but really all that stuff is just going to drain your battery so much. Is it really worth it? It's just so gimmicky. Something I find really freaky about technology, about my Amazon Echo Dot and about Siri, is they are always listening. If you've ever seen the movie Snowden, you'll know what I'm talking about. I mean, if you know anything about Snowden, you'll know what I'm talking about. You don't have to have seen the movie. But yeah, like having his Siri turned on, I'm trying to say that without activating him. Oh, it worked. He's always listening for that, always. While that's great and super useful, if you don't need it and you don't use it and you're quite happy just pressing the home button, if you have a home button, then you might just want to turn that off. And to do it, you go into settings, Siri and search, and then you can just tap listen for Hey Siri and turn it off. Right, back to the App Store now. Into the iTunes and App Store part of the settings, there's also this video autoplay. You can turn that on or off or have it on Wi-Fi only. Definitely recommend the Wi-Fi only bit, again, if your data is limited. Also, this is going to affect your battery, so make sure to turn that off. Another tip, this is one that I used to use before low power mode was invented. You can just turn on airplane mode, just tap that. That's going to turn off every connection you've got, like Bluetooth, calling, Wi-Fi, things like that. It's going to turn off, so just tap that. I also recommend, if when you come to charge your phone, tap that on if you don't need it, and it's going to charge a lot quicker. Then if you go as well into low power mode, go into settings, battery, and then activate low power mode here. This is the best thing since sliced bread. It's such a good feature. Your phone will last forever. It's brilliant. So just remember that that's there. And the final tip is to always make sure that your software is up to date. I'm sure so many people miss out on iOS updates, and they're always putting out new ones, which will potentially fix your battery life. To find the software update, see if you need one, just go into settings, general, software update, and it will check for an update and then tell you if your software is up to date. So that is my full list of tips. Let me know if you have any tips in the comments. I hope this video has helped you, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!